For most of human history, there was a plant so common it grew beneath our feet, between stones, along roadsides, and in the cracks of civilization itself. A plant so nutritious it sustained entire communities through drought, war, and collapse. A plant so resilient it could survive heat, salt, poor soil, and neglect, and still offer nourishment. And yet today, this plant is hunted, sprayed, and erased. Not because it is dangerous, not because it is useless, but because it does not belong to the system built to profit from scarcity. This is the story of purslane, a plant labeled a weed, declared illegal in some places, targeted for destruction, and yet impossible to erase. Purslane does not announce itself with beauty. It creeps. It spreads low to the ground, hugging the earth, conserving water, refusing to compete for attention. Its leaves are thick, fleshy, alive with stored moisture. Its stems turn red under the sun, not as a sign of stress, but adaptation. Botanists call it Portulaca oleracea. Ancient cultures simply called it food. Archaeological evidence places purslane in human diets more than 4,000 years ago, possibly much longer. Seeds have been found in Neolithic sites across the Middle East, India, China, and the Mediterranean. The plant followed humanity as it spread across continents, not as a crop that needed planting, but as a companion that appeared wherever humans disturbed the soil. The Greeks knew it well. Dioscorides wrote of its cooling properties, its ability to calm inflammation and soothe the body during heat and illness. Hippocrates prescribed it for digestive disorders. The Romans ate it fresh and pickled, believing it strengthened the blood and sharpened the mind. In Persia and the Arab world, purslane was valued as a summer green, eaten to counter heat and dryness. In India, it appeared in Ayurvedic texts as a balancing plant, nourishing without overstimulation. In China, it was used both as food and medicine, praised for clearing toxins and cooling the blood. Across continents, cultures that never met came to the same conclusion. This humble plant kept people alive. Modern science would later confirm what they knew intuitively. Purslane contains more omega-3 fatty acids than almost any leafy green on Earth. More than spinach, more than kale, more than most cultivated vegetables. It is rich in alpha-linolenic acid, essential for brain health, cardiovascular function, and inflammation control. It contains vitamins A, C, and E. It provides magnesium, potassium, calcium, and iron. It offers antioxidants that protect cells from damage. It feeds beneficial gut bacteria. It is, by any nutritional standard, a superfood. And yet, in the modern world, purslane is not celebrated. It is exterminated. How did a plant once eaten across civilizations become something we are told to fear? The answer lies not in nutrition, but in ideology. As agriculture industrialized, food systems shifted from diversity to uniformity. Fields became monocultures. Lawns replaced edible landscapes. Anything that grew without permission became suspect. Purslane refused to obey. It did not respect property lines. It did not wait to be planted. It did not die when sprayed lightly. It did not require water, fertilizer, or care. To an industrial system, this is not a feature. It is a threat. By the early 20th century, as suburban lawns became symbols of order and status, purslane was rebranded. No longer food, no longer medicine. It became a weed, an invader to be eradicated. The lawn care industry rose alongside this new cultural obsession. Perfect grass, no diversity, no wild plants. A green carpet maintained not by ecology, but by chemicals. Herbicides promised control, sprays promised obedience. Weeds became enemies, and purslane, with its stubborn resilience, became a primary target. It is no coincidence that as purslane disappeared from plates, it reappeared in pill form. Omega-3 supplements became a billion-dollar industry. Antioxidants were extracted, isolated, sold back to the public in capsules. What once grew freely was now something you had to buy. The knowledge was not lost by accident. It was made inconvenient. In America especially, purslane suffered one of the most complete cultural erasures. European settlers, unfamiliar with its uses, dismissed it as a nuisance. Agricultural manuals warned farmers to destroy it. Universities classified it as an invasive weed. Never mind that it had fed humans for millennia. Never mind that it grew during droughts when crops failed. Never mind that it required no inputs in a land increasingly dependent on chemicals. It did not fit the story of progress. And so knowledge was replaced with ignorance. Food was replaced with products. Resilience was replaced with control. But purslane did not disappear. It crept into sidewalk cracks. It grew in vacant lots. It spread across gardens sprayed with poison. It adapted. Purslane is a master of survival. It uses a form of photosynthesis that allows it to close its pores during extreme heat, conserving water when other plants wither. It thrives in poor soil where nothing else grows. It produces thousands of seeds that remain viable for decades. You can pull it out, and it grows back. You can spray it, and it returns. You can ignore it, and it flourishes. This is why it was labeled impossible to eradicate. But what if that quality was never a flaw? What if it was a message? As climate change accelerates, agriculture faces a reckoning. Heat waves scorch fields. Droughts empty reservoirs. Traditional crops fail under stress they were never bred to survive. Meanwhile, purslane keeps growing, a sign of persistence. It does not need irrigation. It does not fear heat. It does not collapse under poor conditions. It thrives where modern crops struggle. In regions already facing food insecurity, purslane has begun to reappear, not as a weed, but as a solution. In parts of Africa, Asia, and Latin America, communities are relearning how to harvest and eat it. Researchers now study it as a climate-resilient crop, a plant that could supplement diets when other foods fail. Ironically, the same qualities that made purslane undesirable to industrial agriculture, its independence, its abundance, its refusal to be controlled, are exactly what make it valuable now. The suppression of purslane was never about health. It was about order. A plant that feeds itself and feeds people threatens systems built on dependency. A plant that grows everywhere undermines centralized control. A plant that offers nutrition without profit disrupts industries that sell scarcity as necessity. Calling it a weed made its erasure socially acceptable. But weeds are simply plants growing where someone decided they should not. The deeper tragedy is not that purslane was removed from lawns. It is that it was removed from memory. Children grew up learning to poison it instead of eat it. Gardeners learned to fear it instead of harvest it. Ancestral knowledge was replaced with chemical instructions. Beneath the surface, the plant waited. Purslane has no ego. It does not demand recognition. It spreads quietly, patiently, trusting that life will find a way. Today, nutrition science circles back to what ancient cultures already knew. A deficiency in omega-3 fatty acids is widespread. Inflammation underlies many chronic diseases. Diets lack diversity. Soil health collapses. Food systems grow fragile. And there it is again. Purslane, growing freely, asking nothing, offering everything. The question is no longer whether it is valuable. The question is whether we are willing to remember. Reclaiming purslane is not just about food. It is about sovereignty. It is about refusing the idea that health must always be purchased. It is about recognizing that some of the most powerful solutions grow underfoot. To harvest purslane is to reverse a spell. To eat it is to reclaim lost knowledge. To call it food again is to challenge an entire system built on forgetting. Purslane does not need to be engineered. It does not need to be improved. It does not need permission. It simply needs to be seen for what it is: a survivor, a healer, a reminder that abundance was never rare, only hidden. Illegal to grow in some places, impossible to erase everywhere. The superfood they labeled a weed is still here, waiting, not for approval, but for recognition. And in a future shaped by heat, scarcity, and uncertainty, it may once again become what it always was: food for those who remember how to see.